All right, guys, today we're going to be talking about a brand new bypass tool from lockpicks.com. This is a bypass tool that will, in seconds, help you get by Kwiksets, Weisers, and all of the knockoffs that use that same design. Doesn't matter whether it's the normal pin tumbler lock or, in this case, if it's the Smartkey system. Literally in seconds, you'll find yourself able to get by it. Before we do, I'll show you the setup that we have here. I have a lock display panel. Inside of there, I've installed a brand new Kwikset. That's the inside knob, and I'll unlock it so we can see the latch works perfectly. I do also have a key for it, so I can lock it from the outside as well. And there we are. We're completely locked up. All right, bypass. Well, when locksmiths normally face these nasty locks, these are pickable, but they are nasty to pick. They're very, very time consuming. And of course, time's money. So most locksmiths will simply drill it, which of course is destructive, costs the customer a lot of money, and leaves them pretty pissed off. The other bypass is it's basically a copy of a Kwikset key. It's basically a hardened steel blank. You slide it in there, you grab it with a pair of pliers, and you twist it until you shear all the internal mechanism. That opens the door, but you're left in the same boat. It's going to cost a lot of money to repair the lock, and your customer is still going to be torqued. I started this out by saying non-destructive, and that is what I'm talking about. This is the BBT 100 from lockpicks.com, $39.95. It'll get you through these locks in seconds without destroying anything. And let me show you how it works. First thing you notice is that I can't take this and slide it in the keyway, and that's because it doesn't matter what kind of lock is inside of the knob. We're going to completely bypass this by going in another way. We need to get access, though. Now, behind this steel, or it's actually just a inexpensive metal cover, is the access holes that we need. In order to get it off, all we do, you notice that there's a dimple here, and that's because these are held on by compression. Easy to do. Take your screwdriver, try not to damage the door, work it in there, and pry it away. We're going to do the same thing with the other side, and it just pops. That's as far as it goes. Now notice in both sides, located 180 degrees out from each other, we have two small holes, which coincidentally is slightly larger diameter than the wire that we're going to be feeding through it to defeat this lock. All right, before we do that though, let's talk a little bit about what I'm going to try to do. On these types of locks, the locking pawl, in the case when the latch is on the right side of the knob, the locking pawl is going to be located on the top. When it's reversed, in other words, when the latch is on the opposite side, the entire mechanism is reversed, the locking pawl will be on the bottom. Do you need to remember that? Not really, because it's so easy to use this tool. If you screw up and you don't find the locking latch, you know you need to move it to the other side. But that's how you do it. That's how you do it right the first time. All right, notice all these little bends in the wire. I can't just slide it up in there. I kind of work it like wire gymnastics to work it up through that hole, get it up inside of there, and we want to work it into the lock, or into this hole, right up to almost this knuckle, right where that blue plastic ends is where we want to go to. Now when I slide him in there, notice how this key type is flush with the door, and when I do that, the tip of that, the working tip, is pointed back towards your stomach. I really want that working tip pointed down towards the locking pawl. So I'm going to rotate him, and just so you know the orientation, when you can't see that, when this handle is pointed back towards your stomach, then that means the tip is pointed down. So we're going to rotate him down, and then we're going to drag him out. That sharp tip will drag across the locking pawl, which has a groove cut into it. You'll hear a clicking noise, and at that point, I'm going to twist the handle of this to force that tip down into that little notch, and then I'm going to continue dragging. You'll hear a click, and then the lock will be open. All right, let's try it. Now, it's important to point out that there are no violent moves required here. We gently work them up inside of there. If you find yourself forcing the lock, or forcing the tool into the lock, or putting torque on it, then you've gotten caught up. Pull it out and start over. Okay, we've got him in there. The tip is pointed back towards your stomach. We're going to rotate him around like this to point the handle towards your stomach. Now I'm going to drag him, and I'll be quiet, and you're going to hear that tip dragging across the actuator. And you're going to hear him get caught in it. Try to make a loud noise. You hear that noise? I'll do it one more time. You hear him lock in there? Once he's there, I'm going to twist the handle to force the tip into that notch, and then I'm just going to continue dragging the tool straight out, and you hear a click. As soon as you hear that, you might as well remove your tool because you are done. That's how easy it is. At that point, take the faceplate, push it back on, open the door for your customer so he can get his checkbook and he can pay you. Guys, that's how easy it is. All right, guys, for those of you who are interested in what's going on inside the lock, I'll try to show you here. I've already removed everything that would block your view. I've obviously removed the handle from the opposite side, and I also took out the locking latch. So what we're going to be going after is this piece right here. This is the locking pawl that I mentioned. So I'm going to go in from the other side with the tool, working him up exactly as we did during the demo. Slide him up inside of that hole. I'm trying to hold him firmly with my hand here. Once I get it inserted all the way up, I'm going to rotate it so that the handle is pointed towards your belly. And then we're just going to drag him out until we feel him dragging on the locking pawl. You'll see a click, and you'll probably hear it as he slides right over that edge onto the locking pawl. At that point, I turn the handle to dig the tip of that tool down into that soft pot metal, and then I continue to drag it out of the lock until it unlocks. And that is exactly what I've done right there. Let me get the tool out of there. That's what's happening inside the lock with this very simple tool. You see, it doesn't take but maybe 10 to 15 seconds to get past a Kwikset, Weiser, or any of those knockoffs. Thanks, guys. Now, I will tell you there's one exception. As I said, this grade 3 is the most common lock installed by contractors on new homes in North America. There's also a grade 2 lock that is very slightly different, and let me show you how, in what way. When we pry this cover off of a grade 2, you won't find a hole here. Instead, you'll find a little dimple for that to fit into to make it click. If you find that, obviously you can't get the wire in there. So you'll need one of these. This is the accessory kit that goes with the bypass tool, and inside of it you find a couple of handy things. You find a 1/8 inch hardened steel drill bit to drill your hole at a slight angle. Once you do that, you have a stepper drill to put it in an angle and then slowly work it around to the side. The reason you do it that way instead of going in straight is so you don't damage the door. Again, rotate him around, widen the hole just enough to fit your tool up inside of. You open it exactly the same as you do the grade 3. The last difference is before you collect your check, you pull the steel stick out of the accessory kit. This is from JB Weld. It's an epoxy compound. You patch up the hole that you drilled, and then you slide the cover in. Then you get paid. Anyway, guys, there you go. I think you can agree that these are nasty, and this tool gets you in a lot faster than trying to pick it. It'll easily pay for itself on the first job. Anyway, guys, appreciate your time. Stay safe, stay legal. If you'd like to win this, easy to do. There's the website. Go there. In the center of the webpage is a big purple band. Click it and register. With a little bit of luck, you'll be the proud owner of one of these BBT 100s when my webmaster draws your name next Saturday. Thanks, guys. If you like the idea of growing the lock sport community, please consider supporting the Lock Lab by either becoming a Patreon or clicking the join button below.